Okay, good afternoon to all course participants. Today I will be delivering lecture on the topic of remote sensing and GIS applications in soil resource assessment. As we know that soil is important resource or natural resource, and information about the soil resource is paramount in land use planning, watershed management, forest land use planning, urban planning, and agriculture management. So, how soil informations we can retrieve or we can obtain from the remote sensing data, and some applications of soil data in planning purpose will be discussed in this lecture. So, I will go sequentially use of remote sensing data in mapping of the soil. Another that how to assess the potential of soil and terrain parameters that we call land evaluation, which are the various methods. Then today digital soil mapping is coming in forefront, so that part, mapping of degraded lands, hyperspectral remote sensing in soil, mapping of soil properties, soil carbon pool assessment, and soil quality assessment. These are the few topics will be exposed to you. Then first comes that is, what do we mean by soil? When a soil scientist studies the soil, for him it is not only the top layer of soil or surface soil, but we consider soil as a third dimension also and need to characterize from surface to subsurface. So in right side you are seeing one vertical section of soil which we call it is soil pattern, and so you can say that is soil is a three-dimensional natural body, and its property of the soils will be developed by the various soil forming processes. We also call it is pedogenic process, and the process are controlled by or it is governed by soil forming factors of climate, land use, land cover, parent material, and topography over the period of time. In general, for agriculturist, soil is supposed for crop, it provides the physical support and provide nutrients to the plant for its proper growth. If we see, when we want to use remote sensing data in soil studies, then you are aware that we need to study the reflectance characteristics of the soils. Different type of soils give a very distinct spectral characteristics. Here it is shown you that is the spectra of soil and vegetation. You are aware that is the spectral, in different spectral band the reflectance are changing. In case of soil, from visible wavelength region to the, you are seeing the near infrared, reflectance goes on increasing, and after that we are getting absorption peak. Here you are getting the absorption peak. This absorption peak is mainly here it is because of water in the soil, so that's why we call it is water absorption peak. But this absorption peak also we get because of mineral matter, clay minerals present into the soils. Here in this spectra I want to show you that mid-infrared region we get lot of information about the soil. If we see the soil is generally you are getting the cumulative effect of of its composition. As we know, the soil is composed of soil texture, organic matter, soil moisture, mineral matters. These are the major component of the soils, and they affect the reflectance characteristics. In soil, we are seeing this is the compositions, 45% is mineral matter. This picture, this is the false color composite of one area in Dehradun. You are seeing this is the Shivalik Hills, and you are seeing that is the, here I want to show you that is the, here you are saying the reddish tone. Here also you are getting the reddish tone. So one thing is clear, that both the area is the forest. So they are appearing same, reflectance is appearing same, but both the places soils are not same. So as you are seeing in the, when you are preparing the land use land cover, similar reflectance, you are getting the surface reflectance, and are characterized as the same land use land cover, but it is not the case in case of soil. Soil is mainly controlled by topography, parent material, and type of land use. So here both the places, it is the hill, but it is the plain land. So topography changed, because of that soil will be changed. So you can say similar reflectance will not result into the similar soils. It may be true in case of where you are preparing land use land cover map. In general, soil survey is conducted in our country, that is the standard scale. Three type of soil survey we do. One is reconnaissance soil survey. It is the scale of 250,000 scale, where we use list 1, IIRS list 1, list 2, AWIF satellite data, and this map is generally used for the planning of state or a region. Second is semi-detailed survey, which is prepared at the scale of 1:50,000, and here we use IIRS list 3, Landsat TM, Sentinel-2 data, these remote sensing satellite data, and this scale is useful for preparing land use plan or anything at district level. Third scale is detailed soil survey, which is 1:20,000 scale or larger, and here resource set 2 is the satellite, which is India has the recent satellite resource 2, list 4 sensor is there, and sometimes Cartosat satellite data and fusion of list 4 and Cartosat 1 or 2 data we used for preparing detailed 10,000, 20,000 or larger FCC, and this map is useful for block level or village level land use planning. If we see what is the availability of soil map in India, many times we want to know that why we need to prepare the soil map when soil maps are available. Then we need to know the soil, what kind of soil map or what scale it is available. As you know, that is National Bureau of Soil Survey and Land Use Planning, which is a headquarters located in Nagpur, is the prime agency, prime center of India, ICAR, which is responsible for preparing soil map, and they prepared the soil map at 1:7 million scale. And another, for the entire country, they also prepared the map at 1:250,000 scale, or you can say reconnaissance scale for the entire country, which is available. You can procure the data from there. The reports are available. So, but if you go to the larger scale soil map at 1:50,000 scales for entire country, it is not available. Around 36% of our country has been covered at mapping of 1:50,000 scale. And third scale larger than 50,000 scales, you can say 20 scales or 10,000. So detail scales, which you can say very limited area. For project area only the soil information is available at detail scale. So here one thing is clear, that for district level planning we need 50,000 scale soil map, and for entire country 50,000 scale soil map is still going on, or you can say currently not available for entire country. For entire country is available 1:250,000 scale, means smaller scale. So remote sensing data give you a very you can say informations about the remote about the preparing soil map, because remote sensing data provides you a synoptic coverage of landscape. You have seen in the previous slide, that is a large area you can see in one scene. Also remote sensing data you are able to get every 21 days. That's why it is said that is provide temporal data. Every month you can get, or season wise you can get, or you can get pre-monsoon and post-monsoon season data. So that is the advantage. You can see your entire area in various months. Also today is available digital terrain models. So you can see your area into 3D or 3-dimensional view can be seen. So topographic informations you can interpret it over that one. Second question comes that when we should acquire the satellite data. So as you know, that is we are going to prepare the soil map. So we would like that we should take the satellite data when there is no vegetation cover. So fallow period we prefer, and May and June month in the northern India we get the crop get harvested in May, April end or May month. So May, June is the month. And but we cannot avoid where there is a forest or permanent vegetation cover. We have to take the satellite data of that area in that land use land cover. So visual interpretation, then we go for visual interpretation of remote sensing data is operational method for soil mapping, not a digital method, because here we want to study the soil forming factors. And soil forming, as I told you in previous slides, that surface reflectance may be same, but the soil may not the same. So that's why digital soil mapping or only interpretation of surface features is not sufficient. So what then questions come that how to map different kind of soils on the earth surface. So for that one you need to know, it requires a full understanding of that how soil has been formed in your area. What were the factors responsible for soil formation? As we know, that is the scientist Jenny in 1941 established that is the soil is developed because of 5 factors. The first factor is climate and organism. That is, organism means land use land cover. These 2 factors are active factor. Why I am saying active factor? Because they provide energy to the system, to the soil. So climate, precipitation and temperature is important. Organism means not microorganism, it is macroorganism, and that refers to the land use land cover in case of soil forming factors. Remaining 3 factors, parent material, and that is your geology or geomorphology or landform, relief, topography and time, that is the weathered rock to the stage of maturity or weathering stage. These are the supposed to be a passive factor. So in all these 5 factors we have to study for mapping of the soils. So you have to first understand that is how soils, these factors have affected which soil forming processes. So the soil mapping concept is require that surface reflectance cannot can only give the clue. It is not only the clue. we need to study the soil forming factors. So we go for a systematic visual interpretation of standard false color composite to prepare physiographic soil map. We also call it is soil landscape map. So we one by one each soil forming factors we study, and we delineate the area into various soil map units, and these map units are assumed that is they are having similar soil forming factors. So our aim is to delineate area having similar soil forming factors. If the polygon or area having similar soil forming factors, then you can say it will have the similar soil forming processes. In another word, then similar soil forming processes will develop similar type of soils. So you can say the entire polygon will have the same type of soils. So in the polygon, anywhere you can take the soil samples to characterize the soil type. So physiographic analysis, or you can say the soil landscape analysis, we used to do for preparing soil map. For example, if you are preparing one district or of your area, then you can assume the climate in your area is constant, not changing much, because climate changes in large area, and for one district the climates you can assume the similar, and all the material which has been soil material is there, they may have deposited in similar time frame, so you can say the time is also constant. So two factors you can ignore, then only three factors are left which is causing variability in soil. And the foremost first factor which is affecting the soil variability is your parent material. So you prepare a parent material map first, or you can say a landform map or geomorphology map can also be prepared, which will represent parent material. Then after preparing the geomorphology map, then you in each geomorphology polygon you study the topography or slope. So divide the each geomorphology map unit into n map units based on the topography, or study soil in that polygon. After getting level 2 means B level, then third level you see the further divide the each geomorphology topography what units you have made in that land use land cover. So because the now soil may change because of land use land cover, if so by that one if you will able to prepare the soil landscape map or physiographic soil map. There is important to note that you have to go a very systematic delineation of the soil, systematic interpretation of the satellite data. First you have to prepare the geomorphology map and then lock your map or polygon. Then each polygon, geomorphological polygon, you study the topography, don't study the land use land cover. Second stage you see only the topography in that map unit. When you finish the B level also, then you go for third level, further delineate or further divide on the basis of land use land cover. For example, one example is shown, that is a landscape means land area. We divide land area landscape into number of landscape units, and in that units we study any point, we study the soil profile, then which is known as a pattern. So you can say the landscape unit or physiographic unit is your mapping unit, but when you study a point profile, it is your sampling unit. Like this is the concept lies in that way. I am showing you one example. This is one area, false color composite was taken when there was no crop, So you see the fallow area is shown, and the right side it is shown the same area, the elevation or digital elevation model, you can say the height map. And in this blue color showing 320 meters and 883 meters top hilly area. I have divided the area based on the geomorphology, hills and Piedmont plain, and lower side it is written alluvial plain. So you can say three broader geomorphic unit has been identified. First level classification, A level. Then second level, I want to see in that one the topography. And topography can be delineated with the help of your digital elevation model. And if DM, beside that, you can also study with the help of your drainage pattern. So drainage line, you know when the drainage are coming and when they are meeting at any place, what it represent? It represent that is from there the slope is changing. So each map unit you can divide based on your topography. So here you see hills and foothills, and right side you see that I have divided the hills into three slope classes, H1, H2 and Piedmont plain or foothills, it has been divided based on the topography 1, 2, 3 and 4. So foothills, earlier geomorphology map, this much one big unit. This big unit has been divided based on the topography, higher slope, moderate slope, gentle slope and mid slope, moderately low. So three units I have divided, and for dividing this one I have taken help of digital elevation model and drainage pattern. Third level, now I will go to study the land use land cover within that physiographic unit. If you see, this was the P2 or Piedmont 2 unit, and in this is the forest area and this is the agriculture area. So I have separated the agriculture and rest is the forest. So now what we are getting, this one unit, this unit says that it is the physiographic unit or soil landscape unit, where P2F represent the entire area is Piedmont with moderately high slope, P2, 2-1 slope 2 category, and entire area is forest, and you can say the three soil forming factors are same in the entire polygon. So if soil forming factors are same, then similar soil will develop in this area. So any place you can take the soil sample which will represent for the entire area. So in soil mapping, we need to emphasize that is first you prepare geomorphology map, then divide based on the slope, then divide based on the land use land cover, and then you will get the physiographic map. So systematic interpretation of remote sensing data will let to you prepare physiographic map or soil landscape map where you can study the soils. Now this like that you will able to prepare the legend. You see the hills, mountain, foothills, Piedmont plains, alluvial plains, and mountains or hills has been divided into the very steep slope, be given the name H1, H2, and you see the H1 very steep slopes were further divided, H1 forest, H1 agriculture, H1 scrub, like that one. So you are getting the various soil map unit, and this suppose you are getting H1F 3 places, H1F. So any one polygon you can study the soil, and it will wherever the H1F is there, that will have the similar soils. That is the principle for that soil mapping. And now we go to the field for sampling. So we make one sampling strip which is coming across all the landscape unit, and we study the soil only in the sample strip area. Sample strip area we take along the road. So just from the road 500 meter both the sides we can take the samples. We study the soil profile. So you can say the first you have to do the preliminary visual interpretation in the lab, in the office. Then you go for the field survey. We call it is ground truth data collection, where you study that one or two sample strips. If it is not sample strip, then you can or then not profile studying, then you can take the samples from surface and subsurface. For standard soil survey, preparing standard soil survey map, soil map, you have to study the soil profile up to 1.5 meter depth, or you can say up to the parent material. And when you study the soil profiles, then you analyze the soils in the laboratory to get the knowledge about the physical and chemical characteristics of the soils. And then third stage is post field interpretation. Then again come to the office and what the soil chemical data you have analyzed and what the field preliminary visual interpretation you have done. Now you make final interpretation, and we call it is post field interpretation to prepare the soil map. How we go to the field? You see the soil profiles in the area. From the surface there is no stones, but you see the subsurface layer or sea layer, lot of stones are there, and we characterize that is A layer, B layer and C layer. Here you see the forest is there on the top, but the soil you see, here is the rock material R, here is the C material, parent material, and A and B layer are there, we characterize. So different layers, we collect the soil samples and analyze in the soil laboratory. If I show you how the soil is changing in various landform, when I am taking the soil profiles in the mountains, you see the soils darker in color because of organic matter, 1 layer, 2 layer and 3 layer you are getting larger stones in this one. But when I have taken the foothills or upper Piedmont, upper foothills, then you see that the soils are finer than this one, more fine material, and stones are there, but stones are not as big as in these soils. So by visual interpretation we prepare the soil map, physiographic soil map. This is the physiographic soil map, and each soil map units we have studied the soil characteristics, and now we are able to prepare the soil map and soil characteristics map. You can see that is the map units, that is the soil physiographic units, and what is the texture of the soils, depth of the soils, erosion, pH, organic carbon and many more properties you can analyze from that soil samples. Once you have prepared the soil map, then we go for the land evaluation. Means we want to use this map for land use planning. So you can say assessing the potential of soil for various use. We want to use, because you have the soil information. Now I want to know which soil is useful for plantation, which soil is very good for agriculture, which soils have limitation for agriculture and what kind of limitations are there. We can go also evaluate this land is suitable for irrigation purpose or not. Otherwise, if it is not suitable for irrigation and you are doing irrigation, then in future the problem may come. So land irrigability classification we do. And for crop suitability, we are going for FAO framework of land evaluation to assess the suitability of the crop. Here I will go for one assessment, that is land capability classification, because in general all the application peoples first do the land capability classification, its general potential. In land capability classifications, we interpreted the soil map units into 8 capability class 1 to 8. If land is coming or your polygon is belonging to capability class 1 to capability class 4, then we can say it is suitable for cultivation. Capability 1 class is the highly suitable for the agriculture, and capability 4, if it is coming, it is means marginally suitable for agriculture. Actually it cannot be used entire area for agriculture. Class 5 to class 8, it is unsuitable for agriculture, unsuitable for cultivation. And what kind of if it is not suitable for agriculture or not suitable for forestry even, then what are the regions are there? So we defined them in the limitations of that one. So limitation may be water limitation, maybe excess of water, waterlogging conditions, climatic conditions. Soil may be limiting factor, or erosion, land degradation, because erosion is the limiting factors may be there. So these 4 limitations we also mention. How we achieve the land capability classification? You have the land capability, you have the soil and land characteristics map, soil map. You have the criteria, land capability criteria tables are there in literature, in books it is available. You match both. What soil characteristics is there, what capability, different capability class characteristics are there, and then we are able to identify the land capability class. This is the criteria of land capability classification. You see this one: texture, soil depth, slope, erosion. These are the major criteria we use to consider while studying the land capability classification. If your soil depth is more than 90 centimeter, then we call it is capability class 1. But if soil depth is 45 to 90 or less than 90 centimeter, 45 to 90, then it belongs to capability class 2. So we compare your characteristics of the land, soil and land characteristics of the map, and then we assign the land capability class. And that map we can convert into land capability map. Here you see that is the capability class 1 to capability class 4, which are we have got here one capability class 1 to capability class 8. So these are the suitable for capability, land capability class 8, which is not suitable for agriculture. Mainly not agriculture, then what? It is for the forest or whatever it is there, you leave like that one. Here you see this color, it is saying the capability class 2, but it has the limitation of E. E means erosion. So we can generate this land capability map from the land soil map, and soil map we can derive from the remote sensing data. Another methodology are coming into pictures now. People are moving towards the digital soil mapping. How digital soil mapping is a technique where we use computer or algorithm softwares, different statistical techniques to prepare the soil map. Basically, it is not the soil map as I discussed in previously. We prepared the soil property map using digital soil mapping techniques. So it is different from conventional soil mapping. In earlier I have discussed about you the Jenny equation of soil forming factors. Here we use a Scorpion model, which is given by McBratney, where we assume that soil is the function of soil class or soil properties, climate, organism, relief, plant material and time. This CORP are the same as soil forming factors, 5 factors, but here what they have added, that is N factor, means geographic location of the soil sampling point, where you have taken the soil samples. And F represent, that is the statistical techniques, means statistical analysis of regression analysis, multiple regression, geostatistic, machine learning techniques, random forest, artificial neural network, software vector machines, or different mathematical functions we use to correlate relation between soil and these factors, and these factors we call it is environmental factor. So relationships between soil and environmental factors we study and to prepare the digital soil map. Here you see we used geostatistic technique in mapping of total carbon of the soil. This area we have taken the soil samples at regular interval, and here we have taken the CARTO-DM digital elevation model. We characterize the terrain parameters, primary and secondary, and at all the points we have analyzed the soils for carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, and then you have studied the relationship, correlation and regression between terrain parameters and soil parameters. You have made the geostatistical analysis, kriging and co-kriging to prepare the nutrient distribution map, organic carbon, nitrogen or phosphorus map we can project. So we can do this type of mapping of nutrients or individual soil properties that comes under digital soil mapping. Another field is that degraded land mapping. So degraded lands, what do we mean by degraded lands? So I am now soil mapping. I have discussed soil mapping. I have discussed the use of soil map as form of land evaluation. Also soil mapping I have discussed with the digital soil mapping little bit. Now I have another main area, soil get degraded because of we are misusing the soil. We are putting fertilizer, we are giving irrigation, or even other excessive pressure of we are doing the faulty agriculture management, or because of we want to extract more and more from soil. So soil are getting degraded. There are various reasons for degradation, and we can characterize the physical degradation, means where your surface gets changed, erosion, water logging, soil compaction. Chemical degradation means the soils get affected by salt affected soils, soil acidity. Third degradation is biological degradation, where loss of organic matter. Soils, when we are using agriculture for plowing, cropping, agriculture, we expose the soils into the atmosphere, to the sun. So soils carbon get reduced. So in India, lot of area is affecting by your land degradation, and total degraded lands in our country has been notified as 120.4 million hectare land of our country is facing some kind of degradation. This is the latest figure by ICR and Department of Space. Together they mapped this one area under different kind of degradation, and maximum degradation is occurring because of water erosion. Erosion is major cause of land degradation in the country, not only in the country, for the entire world. And water erosion is the prominent one. 93 million hectare of our land is affected by water erosion. You can say 79.7 or 80% land is affected by water erosion. 10% land is affected by wind erosion, and 5.7 is salt affected soils of the country. And shifting cultivation in the northeast region, that is entire area, because people are using faulty practices there of shifting cultivation, which is around 3.6% area is under that, which is facing severe erosion problem, water erosion problem. So can we map these degraded lands using remote sensing data? So you see the erosion, soil erosion by water, you know the gullies are formed or like a stream. Here soils has been washed out. So if you see that this is the Shivalik Hills which is covered by the forest cover, even because of topography and because of climatic conditions, this area is getting severe erosion. You see this area, you are getting lot of dissection, we characterize as a severe erosion. Here you see the top soil has been removed, wash out. So what will happen? Sandy materials or coarse materials will left on the ground and giving high reflectance. That's why they are appearing as a, we are characterizing as a moderate erosion. But here you see in the same area where farmers are taking crops, here erosion is less. So it is slight erosion. So slight, moderate, severe erosions we can see very well from remote sensing data. Here the same area it is shown. That is, you see, we characterize water erosion as a slight erosion, moderate, severe and very severe and very, very severe. You see the, it is in a sequence. If you see in the satellite data, highly dissected land here and no forest cover or bushes are there. Here forest cover is there and dissection is less than that one. We can characterize a very severe erosion. Here if you see it is less than that, moderate, severe erosion. Here it is moderate erosion and here it is slight erosion. So by sequential or by if you develop an interpretation key from your naked eye, you can interpret remote sensing data into various erosion classes. So satellite data gives a very good information about the erosion. Even we use the erosion models also for mapping of different erosion classes and even the rate of the soil erosion. Here it is the digital techniques is there or GIS application, because we know that is the, here I am showing you example of use of Rusle model, revised universal soil loss equation, Rusle model, where it is written A is equal to R, K, L, S, C and P. So R is the rainfall factor, K is the soil factor, LS is the slope and length, L means length, C crop cover management factors and P support practice factor, means what management and what support is being done by the farmers. These informations you can integrate, you prepare these maps and integrate these maps and you can generate the soil erosion map. So you see the DM which has been used to prepare the LS factor map, slope and length factor map. R is the, you can get from the IMD, meteorological department, IMD, and that value can calculate annual rainfall erosivity. It is shown of Dehradun district. And here is the land use land cover map of the area. This area you are seeing the forest and these are the cropland. So these are the forest and cropland, these are. And by integration of these factors we can generate the erosion map. You are seeing that the green color is showing the moderate erosion and this one is showing the severe erosion. So spatially distributed erosion map we can generate using Rusle model, and worldwide throughout the world this revised universal soil loss equation we know as a Rusle model being used for mapping of soil erosion risk area. Another erosion type is salt affected soils or chemical degradations. In India, in the semi-arid and arid region, because of intensive irrigation, lot of salts which were in the soils, subsurface soils, those salts have come to the surface by evapotranspiration, because in arid and semi-arid region your your evaporation rate is high, and in May, June month, if you see, the salts from the subsurface due to ET, evapotranspiration, they come onto the surface. So it is the field photograph, surface you are seeing the whitish, and this area is intensively irrigated. So you see the water logging problem. So water logging and salt affected is a twin problem. Both stay together most of the time. Or they can be mapped with your remote sensing data. You see that this is the FCC false color composite, list 4 satellite data taken in April month. You see the saltwater soils appears as white tone, but waterlogged area, they appear as a bluish tone. So clearly we can map the salt affected soils in a waterlogged area. So water erosion, saltwater soils, all these things we can map directly from the remote sensing data. Even you can use digital technique because surface reflectance is very well distinct. Actually, saltwater soils, you see in this spectral characteristics, they give high strongly saline sodic soils give high reflectance, whereas the normal soils give low reflectance in here in these bands, and you can compare. That's why it appears whitish on the false color composite. It is shown you a picture of Rohtak districts in Haryana. This is the false color composite, and we have classified this white color is showing the salt affected soils. Supervise this white is salt affected soils because Rohtak district is intensively canal irrigated area, and in last 20-30 years we have seen that is the large area has been degraded because of development of salinity in the area. So you can map the salt affected soils. You see the white color, blue, that is your yellow color showing the salt affected soils. Now, another application of remote sensing data today we are using for watershed management. What do you mean by watershed? Watershed is a natural hydrologic area which is governed by terrain topography, and you will get all the waters will come after rain falls to the single point. So this area be defined as a watershed. And remote sensing data can be used for the management of watershed. We can identify in this watershed, that is the area of soil erosion, where erosion is taking more. So you can use Russell models. We can also estimate where is the runoff generation is highest, because highest runoff generation means highest runoff. Suppose you are seeing this picture, this is the hill. When the rain occurs, then water will falls on that one. Some waters go infiltrate, and rest of the waters from the surface it flows, and it is flowing, and it is not only the fresh, but it removes the top layer of the soil, so it causes erosion, and because of erosion it lost the sediment, soil loss and nutrient loss both. So here we can in watershed management we estimate the sediment yield, soil loss and nutrient loss also. So in this case, remote sensing and GIS can be used for the watershed management. In one watershed, in the previous slide what I was showing you, the erosion model, that is your Russell model. Here when you prepare the land use land cover, soil map, digital elevation model, LS map, we can get not only the erosion risk area map, but we can also identify that is what is the rate of the erosion. The Russell models give you quantification of erosion rates. When you are doing the visual interpretation, then you are doing the only slight erosion, moderate erosion. But here you see the cropland with maize crop, it is giving soil loss 24 tons per hectare per year, and cropland with paddy, it is giving 14 tons per hectare per year. Even the forest, you see the dense forest, it is giving 15, moderately dense forest and dense open dense scrub and open scrub, you see that is 15 tons, and most moderately dense forest is giving 9.65 tons per hectare. If erosion is less than 10 tons per hectare per year, then you need not to worry. But if more than 10 in India, if erosion is occurring more than 10 tons, then it is beyond the permissible limit. We can permit less than 10 tons per hectare. So you see here, your in this land, even maize and paddy is also losing more than 10. So if erosion is high, then you are losing soil and losing the nutrients, and one day your soil depth will be reduced. So you will lose the potential of your soil. Now I will show you some applications, newer areas which are coming in future. I have shown you the multispectral remote sensing data applications. This is the one area where now we are getting the hyperspectral remote sensing. In multispectrals, we study less than 10 spectral bands. So where reflectance in 10 is less than 10 spectral bands, 4, 5, 6 bands, but hyperspectral remote sensing is giving you more than 100 spectral bands. And here once Hyperion satellite was launched by US in 2000. NASA launched these satellites. It was providing data into 220 spectral bands, and spectral wavelength region was only 10 nanometer. This has been widely used for mapping of soil properties of the surface soils, and it is very useful. It was found very useful in mapping of degraded lands, mainly salt affected soils. So I will show you an example what we used for the mapping of salt affected soils using hyperspectral. Today in the world, Italy, Australia, Germany, many countries are going to launch hyperspectral remote sensing satellites, so that it will provide a lot of spectral data. Satellite data will have the more number of spectral bands, so you can better characterize the chemical composition of soil, chemical composition of plant. So it will give you it will give you advantage for quantitative remote sensing. It will give us a new era of quantitative remote sensing. So here just I with the spectral indices prepared the salinity index map, brightness index map by selecting some spectral bands, and here you see we can map the soils, electrical conductivity of the soils. This was the FCC. Different spectral bands were there. We used to develop the regression equation, and we were able to map the electrical conductivity of the soils. Means salt affected soils having high electrical conductivity, and we found that the brightness index of the spectral index we prepared the brightness index, we find that SI means salinity index and BI brightness index, they were very useful in mapping of electrical conductivity of the soils, which is representing high the electrical conductivity, high salt affected soils. So we are able to map the salt affected soils with its quantitative values. So it has provided us quantitative remote sensing. Today we are using also remote sensing data for soil organic carbon mapping. Studying of the soil carbon is very important today, because for study of the climate change. You know the how much carbon in the atmosphere is there. That is the source of the carbon from various sources you are getting. And soil carbon study is also important because it indicator of the soil quality also. Higher the organic carbon in the soils, high the soil quality. And secondly, soil is a sink for carbon. It has storehouse of carbon. And if this carbon is released to the atmosphere, then CO2 concentration in atmosphere will increase, and if increase in CO2 concentration, then you can see that will be it will trigger the climate change, or it will affect your warming situation. So just I give you one figure, that is in atmosphere is containing presently 760 petagram of carbon. Your vegetation mass present on the earth surface globally, it is, I am showing you global, 560 petagrams globally. And if you see the total carbon present into the soil of the world, it is 2500 petagram. You can say from vegetation, how much vegetation present in the earth surface, 5 times, more than 5 times present into the soil. And if you disturb the soil, erode the soils, expose the soil, then this carbon which is stored into the soils, that will come into the atmosphere, and then it will trigger the global warming in a large extent. That's why today soil carbon study using remote sensing data, how we can map that soil carbon becomes very important. And how we can estimate the soil carbon stock, you see here the stock is equal to CDE. C is your organic carbon by soil analysis, D is bulk density, and G is volume fraction of coarse elements. And by this, using this formula, we can calculate the stock of the carbon present into the soils. And this is the map prepared for India, that is where carbon stock is highest. You see the northeast, the soil carbon stock is the highest in the country, followed in the alluvial plain. Here you see the Western Ghat also organic carbon content is high. So we have prepared, that is you can see this is the in quantitative terms, more than 50 teragram of carbon and less than 10, these are area have been mapped for the entire country using remote sensing and GIS. Another use of remote sensing is that your soil quality. We can, as you know, the soil health card being prepared for the use of the farmer, and today we are interested to study the soil quality. So remote sensing and GIS can be used to study the soil quality, because soil quality is cannot be measured directly, but be evaluated based on the physical, chemical and biological properties of the soils. So you see here that nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, soil organic carbon, electrical conductivity and pH can be estimated of the soils of the various soil map units. Again here I am saying that is you will take the samples based on the soil map units, and then you do the ratings, you give the weight and use this soil quality index formula, and we can generate the soil quality map of the area. So this is one area, watershed area. You see that is the here showing the red color, it is the highest soil quality, and green color is showing the lowest soil quality. So soil quality, if high is there, it means there you can have a good crop, good yield. So there, and where the soil quality is poor, then you study that, then there is management is different required. So soil quality is important, and which you can assess very well with your remote sensing and GIS, and you can prepare the soil quality map also. So at the end, I can conclude that remote sensing data provides you a reliable, extensive and reliable information on soils, and it helps us to generate those informations, and these informations are very much required for planning of natural resources, effective planning, effective management planning of natural resources. These are the tools which we can use to generate the information, to assess the potential of the land for land use planning. It is very useful in mapping of degraded lands, mapping of nutrients, watershed management, soil quality, and further, if you see the hyperspectral remote sensing which is coming in future, which is already established, and they are going to give a bigger tool for mapping of soil properties and giving you ahead for venturing into the quantitative remote sensing for preparing soil nutrients and other properties map very effectively. Thank you very much for listening these lectures, and now I invite you for any questions you have.